Today we're going to show you how to change the water inlet valve on your washer, and it's a really easy job. All we're going to need is a Phillips screwdriver and a pair of slip joint pliers. Let me show you how we do it. Now before we begin this repair, since we will be working near some electrical circuits, we will need to disconnect the power to the washer, so simply unplug it. We're also going to have to pull it far enough forward that we can access the fill hose connections at the valve, and we'll also need to turn off the water supply for both hot and cold and disconnect the inlet fill hoses. The next, on the front load model, we will need to remove 3 screws across the back of the console. They're a Phillips head screw. Now the back cover for that console is held to the main top with 3 little clips, so it may or may not come off easily. You don't want to force it and potentially break the clips. So just pry it loose at the front and then lift it up and away. You'll note there's 3 little hooks that fit into rectangular slots on the bottom, and then there are 4 tabs that engage the back of the control panel on the top. So we'll set that aside. Now next we need to remove 3 screws across the back of the top panel. They have a hex head and a Phillips head, so you can use the Phillips screwdriver to remove those. And then we're just going to pull back on that top, about an inch, and it will lift away from the cabinet. There are some keyhole slots on both sides of that top panel that engage 2 screws, one on either side, to hold it in place. So we'll set that aside. We can locate the water valve. Now there are 2 sets of wire harnesses that attach to that valve. So we'll remove the wires from the terminals on the valve. And just take note of the color of the wires so that we can put them back on in the right position. Now next we're going to remove a single Phillips screw that holds the valve to the back of the cabinet. And we're just going to slide that valve to the right, and that will unhook it from the back of the panel. We can pull it through the opening. Then you can access this little spring clamp that holds the outlet hose. So using our pliers, we'll remove and slide that spring clamp down onto the hose and just twist the valve free of that hose, and there may be a little water comes out of here. And we can discard the old valve. Now to install the new valve, we'll first start by inserting the outlet of the valve into that hose. Then we'll want to make sure that we rotate that on the hose before we put the clamp on so that we don't get any twists in it. We'll next take our pliers and slide that clamp up onto the outlet portion of that valve. And we'll slide it through the opening in the back, line it up, and then push it to the left so that it hooks on the left side. We'll reinstall the screw. And the wire harness. Now we're ready to put the main top on. Now when reinstalling the top, I want to make sure that we line up the 2 keyhole slots with those 2 shoulder screws on the side of the cabinet. just keep that front edge back about an inch from the back of the console, and it should sit right in place. Slide it forward, and slide it forward, and then we'll install the 3 screws across the back. These are the hex head screws. Make sure we tighten these securely. Next, we'll put the back of the console on. Now, when installing the back of the console, we want to line up these 3 hook tabs with the rectangular openings in the main top. Make sure it's sitting flush on those. And slide it in at the very top into the back of the control panel, and install the 3 Phillips screws that hold it in place. When tightening these screws, make sure that the edge of that back panel is flush against the back of the control panel. You don't want to force those clips. They should slide easily into place. Now we're ready to reconnect our fill hoses, turn on the water supply to check for leaks, and then reconnect our power, and our repair is complete.